what's happening, because this American movement actually increasingly being popular around the world. It's spread on as far as New Zealand, Australia. Those people who are doing the same thing in other countries, like what the Canadian tracker or the Canadian movement actually doing is because the American actually supported it. The American are the roots. What's going on?
And that's the big question. I think that a lot of people are really wondering what is going on. I don't know if this Canadian trucker thing started out as truly a grassroots thing, but it was co-opted by other forces. I was just reading something this morning that something like 90% of the funding through that Give, Send, Go group came from Americans, the same people that funded the insurrection and all of that. So I don't know. I am concerned that group, whoever they are trying to, I don't know, sow chaos, distrust. I don't know what their end goal is, but pretty scary to see, as you said, in lots of different countries. It's no longer just America. Now we've got America in Canada, and we're starting to see it in France. And I have a feeling it's the same forces behind all of that.
It's complete, like over here in Ottawa, you can see, maybe over there as well, in American newscast, you can watch television and see all those paraphernalia and signs and words that is very similar to, actually it is, like make Canada great again, for example, like exactly like American.
Well, yeah, and like I said, my big confusion is what is their end game? What are they trying to accomplish? I used to think it was just an American thing. I thought that it was maybe trying to destroy America or whatever. But now I think it's clear that it's beyond just that. We had one of our senators flat out said that he hoped the trucker thing comes in and clogs up every American city and shuts down our economy. I mean, literally, one of our senators said this. We have another senator who said that he feels that his state already has enough jobs, and so he is not going to try to get any more jobs in his state. These ideas are so contrary to everything that America has ever stood for, everything that Americans have ever wanted. And it makes me think that we now have a number of senators actually pushing for the destruction of this country. I don't know. I can't figure out what their goal is. But like you said, it's now clear that it's more of a global thing. So whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish, it's no longer just America.
Yeah, and plus the words is coming from Trump, for example, that say the extreme left lunatic Trudeau, this kind of way to refer to our prime minister, and also we are now watching closely the situation with the armed forces. There are 3 active members of a special unit of the armed forces here in Canada under investigation because they are like vocals, and 1 police officer from the OPP, or Ontario Provincial Police as well, was recording a video and posted on TikTok that support the protester. I mean, and the way the police react, if they are protesters from the left, for example, in 2 days, and not even 1 day, will be out of the sights very quickly, And with this trackers in this movement. Apparently, the police and there are some very bizarre situations. What's going on? And I don't know in the United States. You expect that this happening in the United States and see what happened. What?
Yeah, yeah, and that's a lot of people are talking about that here too. In that, like when we had the BLM demonstrations last summer, there was massive military presence, just this phenomenal. They just blanketed these cities with federal troops. In fact, they even brought in like prison guards and every kind of any sort of police force they could round up at the federal level, and brought these forces in to have this massive, overwhelming police presence. And yet then for the insurrection at the Capitol, there was nothing. There was no extra police at all, no extra protection. So it's this weird situation. Now we know here that a number of the insurrections at the Capitol last year were actually like military or police, some Republican politicians from various states, and they were involved in the violence in the Capitol. So, like I said, I don't know. I know that Fox News is a huge mouthpiece for this. I'm not convinced that Fox is actually like starting it or being the brain behind it or whatever, but they are broadcasting it and getting it out to the American people. And whoever those forces are, now we have it going globally, and it's scary because I don't know what their end game is. I don't know what they're working toward. I don't know what their vision is. All I know is that they're looking for chaos and violence, and I don't know if it is just trying to fight against any and all authority. Any government who is trying to govern is somehow bad, and they're just trying to get rid of government in general. If there is some other specific goal, but I will say that none of this makes any sense.
Because the police doesn't do the job and the authorities doesn't push enough out the city of this protester. You see now movements, people who are try to block the cars and convoys, but not from the police, but from the people. You think this is the turning point right now, or the turning point was when actually Trump coming to the power? Because obviously this is a turning point for me.
I think it's growing. I don't know where the actual turning point was. I think whoever it was that got Trump elected, that was part of the plan, and I do think that sort of, I don't know, accelerated it or whatever, but I really believe that if we could kick out Trump, then Trumpism would be weakened. And I really believe that. I knew that Trumpism would still be around, but I thought if we could get Trump out of power, then the movement would be weakened. And that is not what happened. Trumpism is stronger than ever. At this point, Trump is really a non-player. I mean, he's still out there riling people up and all of that, but he could die today and it would make no difference on the movement. The movement at this point is going stronger than ever. And that tells me that Trump was just a figurehead. He was just, as they say in Russian, a useful idiot. So it was, I don't know if it's the Bannon and Flynn and Roger Stone who were just orchestrating everything behind the scenes, and Trump was just sort of there as a useful idiot, as a figurehead, or what. I mean, I don't really know who's driving this, but it's clear that Trump is irrelevant, or the movement is really strong, and somehow they have convinced people, normal people, to go against their own best interest. And I don't understand, like these truckers that were out there. I mean, it was against their own interest. And yet they were out there for a long time, risking arrest, risking their trucks being confiscated, risking huge fines. And for what? Against their own best interest. So I don't understand it. I don't understand how these people have been. I don't
Yeah,
necessarily want
it is weird because those truckers here in Canada, they say no vaccine mandates. And okay, for example, okay, we cut it off the mandate, everything free, totally free. Now you can go to the United States, but then in the United States, you find out that the American has their own policies about, then you try to go to the United States, and there is a problem because the United States has its own policy about measures about the COVID-19 mandate or whatever. So as you said, is apparently going against their own interests. But at the same time, I'm thinking about the money. Grabs a lot of money very quickly and one crowdfunding, and then shoot it up that crowdfunding and open up another one very quickly. They collect so much money, talking about millions. And I think this is probably is the difference because they have a power, financial power, in order to sustain some kind of movement that for me and for you probably is strange. I don't know.
Yeah, and like I said, I just really do not. It's not about mandates. That I'm sure of. It's really not about mandates.
Listen to this and other podcasts on Omar Global Radio, omarglobal.com. From Quebec, Canada, Omar Diaz reported.